Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. Today's video is going to be another top 10 and today I'm taking suit after Stuart George's channel. A few weeks ago I believe he did his top 10 sci-fi, and now sci-fi is probably for me, alongside animation, weakest genres for me. I'm not a massive lover of sci-fi, but obviously these films I do love, and I looked and all of my top 10 are actually in my top 50 films of all time, or as per my Letterboxd account. I hope the lighting's better in this video as well today. I've tried to do it early so it's light outside, so I don't have to have the light on, so there shouldn't be too much of a glare. Now, shockingly, if you watched my top 10 creature features video last week, I think I did that, my number one, it is in this list, but it's not actually in my top 10, which is shocking because I said it is one of the best pieces of sci-fi of all time. And it is, which just goes to show that for me, all these other films that are in my top 10 are just, well, some of my favourite films of all time, hence them being in my top 50. This was at one point in my top 50, but it just got pushed, so it's probably like 51, 52. It literally just got pushed down late last year. But yeah, I'll go through my honourable mentions first, including the one that I was talking about. So honourable mentions, one that I watched for the first time fairly recently and really liked was Cloverfield. I have seen 10 Cloverfield Lane as well, but I do need to give that a rewatch because I don't think I've seen it since it came out. But this was just great. Obviously it's like kind of what do they call it? Like, it's not found footage, but it's all on like a steady cam, that sort of like a, like handheld camera sort of thing. And I could have included this in my creature features because it does include a big alien monster, but it's just not quite there for me. It's a great piece of sci-fi. It's really good and clever how they did this. But like I say, just not quite there for me, so it didn't quite make my top 10. Then we have another one I love, Contact, which I rewatched again last year at some point. Great film, love it every time. Just about alien contact, and it's going the more scientific route and more what would realistically probably happen if we were to have alien contact. It's based on a Carl Sagan novel. Obviously, as you can see, it's got Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey. And it's a Robert Zemeckis film, and if you know my channel, you know he's probably my favourite director, and he will pop up again in this list. You could probably guess what film that will be. But yeah, just a fantastic, really well done film. I just love the way they go about it. The score's like beautiful as well, and Silvestri did the score. Got some great supporting performances in this one from James Woods. John Hurt's got a great small supporting performance. Tom Skerritt, Angela Bassett, just really good, solid film. So if you like sci-fi, definitely recommend getting out. And I'd love to see a 4K for that one. But I think if we were to get one, I think, is it the 30th? 2 years, 2027, I think will be the 30th anniversary. So we may get it then, we may get it before then, I don't know. Then we have Total Recall, just a classic. Again, I think I only watched this for the first time last year. Been trying to watch as many Arnie films as I can that I haven't seen. And this is just great. It's Paul Verhoeven. I've still not seen RoboCop. I'm sure if I'd seen it, that might even be in this list as well, but I haven't seen it yet. I've not even got it yet. So that is one that I do need to rectify and try and pick up soon. But yeah, just the way that this film, the story is just, it's a classic story. Yeah, and just weird, very weird. And sometimes I do like a weird sci-fi film. You've got Sharon Stone in this as well, who plays his wife. Jerry Goldsmith did the soundtrack, it's great. The special effects are great, especially the famous scene which is sort of shown on the back, but not really. If you've seen the film, you know the scene I'm talking about. But yeah, just the sets as well, and just the colours of this film, I just love it. It's one that I definitely need to watch again. So yeah, Total Recall. Then we have two, as I said, I mentioned these in my last video, and these were my top two. So if you've seen that, you already know what they are, and that's Aliens, perfect sci-fi, the best Aliens film to me. Just an awesome film. Perfect mix of sci-fi, horror, and action. Sigourney Weaver is badass as Ripley in this one. Probably the most badass she's been in any of the ones that I've seen. You just got great supporting cast. Great quotes. Game over, man. I mean, that's just one of the all-time quotes for me now. What's the other one? Is that in this one? Is it Get Away From Her, You? That's in this one, I think. I'm pretty sure, when she's in the mech suit at the end, which is on the back, actually. I've only seen this the once, and I just love it. It's just one. I'm definitely going to watch this again soon, because, as I say, I just love this film. I just think it's perfect sci-fi. Yeah, aliens. And then the other one, you know what this is. You know my thoughts on this. I adore this film, and I wish I could have this in my top 10, but there were 10 others that I have put above this. But it's John Carpenter's The Thing, just perfect sci-fi, perfect body horror creature sort of thing. It's the ultimate creature feature, in my opinion. It's John Carpenter really at his best. I haven't seen a film better than... I'm sure other people will have their favourite John Carpenter films. This is mine. I adore this film. Again, one that I must watch again soon, because it's just great. And the way that they ended this film, still not knowing, is just... It's, in a way, it's a perfect ending. You want to know, but it is still a perfect ending. I'm not going to go on about this, because I probably waffled on about this in my last video, but go and check this out if you've not seen it. Definitely worth your time. And it's almost 7 minutes in, and we're actually into the top 10. Apologies, this looks like it's going to be a long one. But coming in at number 10 is not only one of my favourite sci-fi films of all time. If you were to ask me what my favourite action film of all time is, this would definitely be in the conversation, and it's another video I have to do. And that is T2, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Great. People complain about this transfer. It doesn't put me off at all. The film itself, I adore. I've seen this multiple times. It's the ultimate Terminator film. Yeah, it's better than the first one. I know a lot of people enjoyed the first one more. Just seeing Arnie, because you don't know, you just assume when he comes on the screen that he's going to be trying to kill John Connor again, as he did in the first one. Sorry, that's a spoiler if you haven't seen it, but it is nearly 40 years old, so I apologise. I'd imagine most people watching this would have probably seen this film. But obviously when he goes to help him, and you've got Linda Hamilton, who's just so badass as Sarah Connor in this. The whole chase scene in, like, the... what do they call them? It is on the back. I don't know what they call them in America. It's not like a highway. It's where the water goes, I think. That's awesome. The helicopter scene at the end, that's awesome. It's just an awesome science fiction film. The story's just perfect, in my opinion. And any film after this is just not worthy of this film. Although I enjoy Dark Fate. I know, again, a lot of people have their issues with Dark Fate. But outside of the first and this one, the only other one that I would ever go back to, I would imagine, is Dark Fate, which I do also own. But definitely that wouldn't be in the conversation for top anything, because it's not a great film. It's just enjoyable for me. But this, perfection. Coming in at number 9, a lot of people are going to get funny because I don't have the first one on my list. I have the second one. In my opinion, I think the second one's a much superior film to the first one. And that is Blade Runner 2049. Yes, the first one is a classic. It is a great sci-fi film. I do need to watch it again because I've only seen it the once. I didn't click with it that much. But like I said, I need to give it another watch to see how I feel. But this one, Denis Villeneuve, again, I will spoil it a bit. He does appear multiple times on this list. To be honest, you know my thoughts. I'm not a fan of Dune, but outside of the Dune films, every single one of his films I've seen have been perfection. And I think pretty much all of them are in my top 50 of all time. The only two that I don't think are Prisoners, top 100 for sure, and Incendies, great film, but not quite there for me. But all of his other, and Enemy, which I haven't seen actually yet, all of his other films, except for the Dune films, are 100% in my top 50 of all time because they're great. And this one, just seeing these characters again after, what, 40 years, pretty much. Is it 40 or would it have been 30 years? No, I think it would have been closer to 30 years when this came out. yeah, 30 years after the events of the first film, just seeing Harrison Ford again, Ryan Gosling, who's great in this, Jared Leto's creepy as hell in this. It's just beautifully shot. It's a great story. Just in terms of I have to give this another watch. I think I'm going to need to watch them both back to back again, because it's been such a long time since I've seen this, but it's just stayed with me. And when a film like this stays with you, you know that it's a good film, and that is why it is in my list. And the transfer is beautiful on this one. So yeah, 100%. This is one of my favourites, Blade Runner 2049. And then the newest one on this list, and I just instantly clicked with this, and I know some people are going to say, well, you can't really do this because it's a fairly new film. But there are some films, and they come not very often, and you instantly just connect with them, and they just become part of your life. Sounds very philosophical, but just to me, this film means so much to me. It's a very important film to me, and I just love it. And it is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah, it's a new film. Yeah, some people are going to say, why is that on your top? It was my favourite film the year it came out, no question. And it's just a great story, great film. Just because it is so different, and because it just is so ambitious, and it really goes for it. The performances are out there. It deserved every award it got, this film, and I was so happy when they won all the awards they got, because it's such a deserving, well-made film. Michelle Yeoh, just a badass. She's always been a badass. She's an ultimate badass in this film. Ke Huy Quan, it was just awesome to see him in a film again after all these years. Jamie Lee Curtis, what can I say? She was incredible in this. You've even got James Hong, who's been in the business for years. He was excellent. Stephanie Hsu, also nominated for an Oscar as the daughter. What a performance. It's just a fantastic piece of science fiction. It's out there, it's long, it's weird. There's some things that you're like, what the hell is going on? I still don't think you can fully understand it. If you've only watched this to once, there's no way that you can come away from it saying that you understand what was going on. I've seen this 2, 3, maybe even 4 times now, and I still don't fully know what the hell is going on in this film. But I do know that I love this film. It's going to stay with me forever. It is just a fantastic film, and I get emotional every time watching it, which sounds stupid. But it is a very emotional story about family and time, and yeah, go and give this a watch if you've not seen it. Everything Everywhere All at Once, number 8. Number 7. I do have a Ridley Scott film on this list, and it's number 7. It's not Blade Runner, it's not Alien. But I just love this film, and it's The Martian. Just love this film. It's just a great piece of science fiction. It's my favourite Ridley Scott film, I would say. It's just a great space film, and just being stranded and isolated on a planet on your own, trying to get home, and how people at home are trying to deal with this. You've got a fantastic supporting cast in this that really helps the story. You got Sean Bean, who I love, Jeff Daniels, who I love, Sebastian Stan, Benedict Wong's in this, I think. Doesn't actually say, but I'm sure he's in this. You've got Donald Glover, Chiwetel Ejiofor, even Kristen Wiig's good in this, and I mean, it's weird seeing her in a role like this. Michael Pena, Jessica Chastain, Kate Mara. This goes on and on and on. It's just a fantastic cast, written by Drew Goddard, who's a fantastic writer. Yeah, if you like your space films, if you like your isolated type films, this came out around the same time as Interstellar. Obviously, Matt Damon getting left behind again in that one. Yeah, just a really good film, and I love this film, and again, one that's going to stay with me for forever, because it's just so good. The Martian. That was number 7. Number 6. 6, 5, 4, 3. Oh shit! I've done it in the wrong order. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, I've only done to 2. So scrap that. I'm pretty sure I did this in the last one as well. My maths is crap. Sorry to use that, but the thing is in my top 10. Turns out it's number 10, and everything else is down. So this is number 5, and it's the other Denis film that I mentioned, and it's Arrival. just a beautiful story. It's not just a beautiful piece of science fiction, it's a beautiful story. The twist in this, it just really wraps this film up and just makes it what it is. It's a look at humanity, what it is to be human. Obviously, also about when aliens and contact and trying to communicate with them. Amy Adams is fantastic in this, one of her best performances in my opinion. Jeremy Renner's awesome in this, as is Forrest Whitaker. It is just a fantastic film. Just about how we cope with aliens coming to Earth, how we communicate with them, how do we know that they're friendly, they're not hostile, and about humanity itself, as I said. And the twist in this makes you look at the film in a whole new light, so I'm not going to say what that is because it's a big twist and it's a reveal of the film. So if you've not seen the film, go into it as blind as you can, like I did, watch it, and I think you'll love it. It even says on the back, the best sci-fi film in years. It truly is. It is just a fantastic film. Will blow your mind. It does that if you don't know what the twist is. Just a fantastic, fantastic film, Arrival. Next up, I did mention, sort of allude to this, the box is a bit beat up, I don't know why. And I've not actually yet to watch these on 4K. These are some great films, but I'm going for the first one, and it's Back to the Future. One of the all-time classic sci-fi films. It's going to be in pretty much everyone's lists somewhere along the line. As I say, I'm going for the first one. I love all three. I remember where I was the first time I watched this. I was at a perfect age. I think I was about 9 or 10 the first time I watched these films. Sat down. I think I was ill off of school. I put them on, they were on the telly, and I fell in love with them, and I've gone back to them so many times since. And they're films I will continue to watch. I just don't know how I've not seen the 4K yet. These are ones I'm definitely going to give another watch at some point this year, because they're fantastic films. And I'm so glad that they have got the 4K release now, because it did take some time. But yeah, Back to the Future, especially the first one, just one of the biggest pop culture films of all time, referenced and at all these conventions. It's just fantastic. It's even got its own musical now, which I hear great things about. Yeah, the first one, the OG, Back to the Future. Going into my top three, I'm going to say I've got 2 Spielberg films for a start in my top 2. And I think the second one's going to shock a few people, because I don't think the second one is on anyone's list. But I just really connect with it, and I just think it's a beautiful story. But number 3 first is the only Christopher Nolan film I've got on my list. But I suppose he hasn't really done much sci-fi, I suppose. It's more been thrillers, I suppose, mind-bending thrillers. But I would definitely class this as science fiction, and it's Inception. The first time you watch this film, it just blows your mind. It is just incredible. It just is mind-bending. Just the whole ensemble cast. I am going to spoil this one, so spoilers, because if you've not seen this, don't carry on watching or skip, because it's hard not to talk about this film without spoiling it. Just the whole concept of a dream within a dream, and how do you actually know if you're still in a dream if you keep going further and further along, and the ending with the pin and you don't know if he's still in a dream or not. Oh, it's just perfection, pure perfection. DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ken Watanabe, Marion Cotillard, Michael Caine. The list goes on. Even Cillian Murphy's in this one. The list just goes on. And Hans Zimmer's score, Time, beautiful piece of music. Oh, I just love this film. Even Tom Berenger's in this. I can completely forget Tom Berenger's in this film, who doesn't really just what a film. What a film. Inception. Give it a watch if you've not seen it. Just a fantastic piece of science fiction. Coming in at number 2, the film that I said will shock you, because I don't think it's going to be on many people's list. It's not a Spielberg film that really is mentioned a lot, but I bloody love it. AI, Artificial Intelligence, was originally going to be a Kubrick film. Unfortunately, he passed away before he could do it, but before he passed away, he did hand the reins over to Spielberg, who obviously did it in his honor. I think it's based on a novel or short story, it says, yeah. It's about a little boy who's actually a robot, and he's programmed to love. He gets separated from his family because they don't want him anymore. He doesn't understand why, he's just a kid. And he's on his own. He meets Jude Law's character, who's also a robot, and they're trying to find out who they are, where they came from, and trying to get back to their... He's trying to get back to his mum. Obviously not really his mum. It's just a really beautiful film. You've got Robin Williams in this as well, plays a robot. Frances O'Connor, I think, plays his mum. Brendan Gleeson, William Hurt. Meryl Streep's even got a small part in this as a voice, I think. Just a beautiful story. It makes me cry at the end every time. It's a very sad ending, very emotional film, but bloody brilliant. If you haven't seen this, highly recommend giving it a go. I need to watch this again. I think pretty much all of these I need to give a rewatch. I think it's been such a long time since I've watched them. But yeah, if you've not seen this, or you've not seen it in a long time, just watch it, because I loved it. I still love it, and it's one that not a lot of people talk. It's definitely an underrated Spielberg film for me. I think it's even in my top 10 films of all time. So yeah, not as much as this next one though, which is in my top 5 films of all time. Always will be, always has been. Just a film I've watched almost more times than any other film, I would say. I probably even watched this on VHS when I was really, really small, because obviously VHS was before my time. It stopped when I was probably, I think it finished when I was about 4, I want to say. But I still obviously had the DVD. I don't think I ever got the Blu-ray. I think, because obviously this was one of the first 4Ks I got. In fact, no, this was the first 4K I ever got in the collection. Right when I started collecting Blu-rays. I didn't even have a 4K player at the time I got this, but I had to get it. I nabbed it straight away. E.T., the Extraterrestrial. Not everyone loves this. It's not everyone's favourite film. It is one of my favourite films of all time. I love it. It brings me right back to being a kid again, watching this. Makes me feel all the emotions I felt when I first watched it. The ending breaks me every time still. Just in terms of science fiction, just what an achievement Spielberg made. He is one of the best science fiction creators, in my opinion. I've not seen Close Encounters, but I heard that's another fantastic one. I must watch that. What are the other ones? Obviously AI, as I mentioned. I'm trying to think, what else could you consider science fiction in Spielberg's career? I suppose Ready Player One, science fiction. I love that. Not on the level of these, but I still love it. Yeah, he's just done so many great films, and this is, in my opinion, Steven Spielberg's best. My favourite science fiction film of all time. Can't ever see anything beating this, just because of what it means to me, sentimentality, what I feel about this film, how old I was when I first discovered this film. Probably about the same age as Henry Thomas, when he was probably younger, to be honest. When it says he's 10 years old in this, I was probably even younger than that when I first watched this film. E.T., just one that everyone should watch. Just a lovely film, a wonderful film, one of my favourite films. E.T. the Extraterrestrial. And that is my top 10 science fiction films of all time. That's gone on for like 25 minutes. A lot longer than the last video that I did, I think. But I got other things, top 10s. I think more top 10s. I'm going to do top 10 horror. I might have done that before, but I am going to do a top 10 horror because it's becoming one of my favourite genres. As with Sammy G, he did last week before, top 10 British gems. I want to try and do that, but obviously different to what he picked. Because I think there are a lot of films in my collection that are British films that nobody's ever heard of, nobody ever watched, right under the radar, that I think people should be watching. I can see one right now that came out a few years ago that nobody ever talked about when it came out, but it was just such a great film. So I think I might do that one next, or horror. I don't know, weekly watches will be tomorrow, as usual. But yeah, that is it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to give your thumbs up. Let me know your top 10 sci-fi films down below in the comments. Turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded to the channel. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. As I said, comment down below anything and everything, as you know. Always get back to anyone that takes the time to leave me a comment, because I really do appreciate it. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.